for your patience. So, is everybody on LinkedIn, or this? Because I'm doing 2 sessions, and the first session is this is LinkedIn. But I mean, do you have LinkedIn? Is everybody a user of LinkedIn? Okay, because in my first session, I'm talking to people that are not on LinkedIn, and then my second session, I'm talking to people that are on LinkedIn and want to do more advanced. So, this is like LinkedIn 1.0. Like if you're not on, or if you're not on LinkedIn, like beginner, and you want to sign up for LinkedIn, and then the second one is more advanced. So, okay. So, okay, so do I just talk out loud or through this?
I think you just have to talk out loud because we all needed the audio.
Okay.
We can hear you talking.
You can hear me talking. Okay. So, like I said, this is LinkedIn 1.0. So if you're not on LinkedIn, then you're missing out on an opportunity to use one of the largest professional networking sites in the world. So LinkedIn this year is celebrating its 16th birthday. It's been around since 2003. And last year it reached 575 million users, and 150 million of those users are in the United States. So in this session, we're going to talk about your profile settings and viewing options, your profile photo and cover photo, using keywords, engaging others, and third-party applications and apps. So in the first section, we're going to talk about your profile settings and viewing options. So I'm going to be starting about setting up an account if you don't have an account. So to get on LinkedIn, you'll have to have an email address and have a password, and then follow the guidelines on LinkedIn to create a strong password. And then on LinkedIn, you have an option to share your profile edits, which is one of the privacy features in your settings. So if you keep on the sharing profile edits, every time you do something on LinkedIn, everybody is going to see what you're doing. Everybody in your network. Right, they'll get an alert. Anytime you update your title or your job or your picture, everybody's going to get an alert. So I recommend that you turn that off, so that way if you change something on your profile, your connections aren't just constantly getting a notification that you've updated something. There are other things that your connections will see too, such as if you're following a company, or if you're following a person, or if you're liking, or you're doing a status update. So I recommend, like I said, turning that off. You don't want to bombard your connections, and you don't want to saturate their news feed with things that they're not going to care about. So LinkedIn it's all about engagement. How many people are on LinkedIn? Is anybody not using LinkedIn? Okay. Okay, so what you want to do to change that is you go to the Me icon at the top of your LinkedIn homepage. You select Settings and Privacy from the drop-down. You click the Privacy tab at the top of the page, and then under the How Others See Your LinkedIn Activity, then change next to Sharing Profile Edits, and then switch the toggle to Yes or No, and then that will automatically change your settings. So does everybody get that? Okay, so the next are your viewing options, and this refers to how you view another person's LinkedIn profile. And so the default setting is for LinkedIn to reveal to the member who has viewed your profile. So when you're viewing someone's profile, they're going to see your name, your title, and your profile photo, so they're going to know that you were looking at their profile. I recommend turning that to off. And you have 3 options. First of all, you can allow the person to see your full profile, so they can see your whole profile, or you can make parts of your profile anonymous while allowing other parts to not be anonymous. So for example, if I did that, somebody would see that somebody at my company viewed their profile. They would know that someone at the Vet Recruiter was looking at them, but they won't know who did it. And third, you can choose to be completely anonymous. I turn mine off because I'm a recruiter and I look at thousands of people a month, and I don't want them to think I'm stalking them. So I turn it off so that they don't see my company or my name or anything. So to do that, to go to the profile viewing setting, you're going to go to the Me icon at the top of your home page, select the settings and privacy from the drop down, click the privacy tab at the top of the page, and then under the how others see your LinkedIn activity, you'll click change next to the profile viewing options, and then select one of the following options: your name and your headline, your private profile characteristics, and then private mode, and then whatever you select, those are going to automatically be saved. And then in addition to that setting, you're going to see some other settings as well. So I recommend just looking at all the settings and customizing your profile in terms of the privacy options and everything else. On LinkedIn, on your photo, there's two photos. There's your actual profile, your picture, and then there's the cover photo. And the picture of you is your professional headshot. And I recommend that you not put your wedding picture or a picture of you on your vacation or with your kids, because LinkedIn is all about network. So you don't want to use a personal photo. You want to use a professional photo. And I know at the beginning, a lot of people were really leery with social media about putting their photo online. I heard a lot of people say, I don't want to put my photo on there. But actually, if you have a picture of yourself on LinkedIn, your profile gets 14 times more views than if you don't have a photo. And then behind your profile photo across the top of the page, you have the option to include a cover photo. And you want to put a photo that represents your industry, or you could put a photo that has your company name or company logo. Since we're in the veterinary industry, I would recommend some kind of a photo that has a picture of an animal or something that reflects the industry. Also on your professional photo, I've heard a lot of people say that you shouldn't have a dog or a cat or anything in your photo. But I don't think that applies to our industry. I think since we work in the veterinary industry, your profile picture, it's fine if you have an animal in there. Does everybody have their picture on LinkedIn and a background photo? So after you put your photo on, you'll want to put your title and your employer. And then underneath your profile photo, you will have an opportunity to put your geographic location and your city and state. And your title is important because that's how you're going to show up in the search results. And so if somebody is running, trying to find somebody on LinkedIn by title, if you're an accountant in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it's important because they're going to be searching for your job title. So you want to make sure that you show up. Did you all know that you can create a unique URL for your LinkedIn profile, because LinkedIn automatically assigns you a URL? So when you first create your account, they automatically assign you a random URL that'll have a bunch of letters and numbers, but you can change it. You can just put your name. I have mine, just my name after the LinkedIn. So once you click on that link, you can customize your URL. So most people will put their name in the URL, but you can put whatever you want.
The URL is?
What is the URL? You're messing with me.
Universal Resource Locator. It's like the name of your website. Blah, 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 the URL.
Right. So the next topic is the keywords. And as I mentioned a second ago, keywords are how people are going to find you on LinkedIn. So you want to use keywords that are going to be most important in your line of work. So that'll be your job title, industry buzzwords, maybe a piece of equipment that you use or a form of technology. So anything that you think people would be searching for or would get you noticed. What?
Certifications.
Yeah, certifications. You want to put those in your keywords. So when I talked about your title and your profile photo, and then your URL, also many LinkedIn users will include both their name and their title in the URL. So you can put your name and your title. And you can also put your zip code in your profile in case somebody is using a zip code to try to find somebody in a certain zip code in the profile. You can do that too. Also in your LinkedIn summary, you have 2,000 characters to work with, but you don't want to keyword stuff your profile. You don't want to just put everything in there. You want to be very specific. So the keywords is an important area that'll help you become more searchable. There was a infographic by Leisure Jobs that said that LinkedIn members that include their skills in their profile receive on average 13 times more profile views. So you'll want to include keywords in any projects that you list on your profile. So I know that it takes some work and some effort to create your profile, but if you do it right, it can really help you with growing your business. So now I'm going to talk about engagement, and there are two forms of engagement, and those are called following and connecting. So on LinkedIn, you follow companies, organizations, and associations, and then you connect with individual people. For example, most companies will have a company page on LinkedIn, or associations like the AVMA, they have a page. And so you just follow their page, and then now you'll be able to see what their organization is posting on LinkedIn when you follow them. So also, when you're there, you can see all of the AVMA employees, or like Zoetis, if you want to follow their page, and then you can see all of their employees that are on their page. And then you can also see all of the jobs that that organization has posted on their page. So there's no limit on LinkedIn on how many organizations you can follow. You can follow as many as you want. I also encourage you to like the post on the organizations put on there, and then comment, and then like when appropriate. So also on LinkedIn, you connect with people, with individuals, and how you do that is you send them a connection request. So it's like on Facebook when you send them a friend request and then they have to accept you. So I would recommend connecting with colleagues and coworkers, and that setup is the same as when you're following organizations. So you just navigate to the person's profile and then you just click the connect button. And then, like I said, the other person will have to accept you, or they may not accept you if they don't know you. But once you've started to accumulate connections, then LinkedIn will start to recommend other possible connections for you, similar to what Facebook does. And so when you're connecting with somebody, what I recommend is that you take the time to write a note that'll go along with the request, such as, for example, hi, my name is Stacy. You and I met at the Vet Partners meeting during the LinkedIn session, and that'll help the person to remember how they met you or how they know you, which will increase the likelihood that they'll accept your request. Because if you just hit connect and you don't say anything, they might not know who you are or remember who you are. So there's two main schools of thought on LinkedIn when it comes to making connections. Some people think that you ought to connect only with people that you know. Other people think that it's okay to connect with anyone and everyone that's associated with your industry. So there's no wrong or right to that. It's just what works for you. Since I'm a recruiter, I get, I think I have 20,000 connections on LinkedIn and 30,000 followers. And so my rule of thumb is anybody that sends me a connection, if they're in the industry, I'll accept them. If they're not in the industry, I probably won't. And then I also send connections to people that are in the industry that I don't know. And since I'm a recruiter, what I'll do is I'll send them a note just about their profile and mention something that's interesting that I saw. I'll say, oh, I see that you're accomplished in this area. You know, that's really great. We work in the industry together, would love to connect. And then I'll send them a connection. So the whole point on LinkedIn is you want to add value. So you don't want to be a spammer, and there are a lot of spammers on LinkedIn, and that's why I don't connect with people that are outside of the industry, because I get a lot of like network marketing people that try to sell me makeup or products like that. So if somebody starts spamming me, then I'll delete them as a connection on LinkedIn. But you want to offer a tip related to business growth or something that would help their career. Or inspire somebody in their work life, but just make sure that you're relevant to the industry, not just spamming everybody. Another way that you can engage people on LinkedIn is through groups. Are you members of groups? The rules of engagement are the same with groups as you want to add value. So be sure to like and comment when people make comments that you're interested in. And then be genuine about your interaction, both in terms of your intent and what you're saying. And then also people can endorse you on LinkedIn. You put your skills on your profile and they can give you a thumbs up on your particular skill. There's also recommendations, which are like your references. If you have a boss or a client or somebody that you've worked with that speaks highly of you and they want to recommend you on LinkedIn, and they can actually write a recommendation on LinkedIn that can be viewed by your connections. So another way to engage people on LinkedIn is through groups. And the rule of engagement, like I said, with groups is the same as with other groups. You just want to be genuine and like and comment. One thing to know is that your LinkedIn profile is not your resume, and I'm speaking to people that are looking for jobs. Because a lot of times as a recruiter, somebody will reach out to me and say, I'm interested in this job, or I want to apply for this job. Look at my LinkedIn profile. And I'll say, well, do you have a resume that you could send to me? And they'll say, well, it's on LinkedIn. And I tell them that your LinkedIn profile is not your resume. They're two different things. So you want to actually, if you're applying for a job, you want to send an actual formal resume. And then your LinkedIn profile is just more like your biography, who you are and what you do and what value you add to the industry. I actually had a candidate that I sent out for an interview to one of my clients, and he had a different job listed on his LinkedIn profile than he had on his resume. So he was an executive applying for a business unit manager position, and I sent his resume over to this country manager, and he had a certain job with a certain company, and then the general manager went and looked at his LinkedIn profile, and it had a different job and a different title, and he said, well, which one is correct? And I said, it's the one on the resume. And he said, well, why isn't the LinkedIn profile updated? And he said, well, I haven't been on LinkedIn in like 5 years. And so the general manager said, well, I don't want to interview him because he's not up to date with technology. So I always tell people it's important to make sure that your resume and your LinkedIn profile say the same thing, and that they're both updated, and that they're consistent. So you should complete your LinkedIn profile 100%. People that have their completed profile are more likely to be successful on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn says that users that complete their profile 100% are 40 times more likely to receive opportunities through LinkedIn. Also, there's an option on LinkedIn to be open to job opportunities, so that recruiters or employers will you'll come up higher in the search engine on LinkedIn if you select open. If you're closed to opportunities, you'll be down lower. You'll be several pages over. So if you want employers or recruiters to find you on LinkedIn, you should click that you're open to opportunities, and then you'll come up higher in the search engines. So
that's confidential just to the general user, right?
Right. It's
so
not your
normal LinkedIn people can't see that selection, but they have higher levels. Companies pay for, they might be able to see that. Is that right?
Yeah, it is confidential. So, do you have to have LinkedIn Recruiter to have that, or is it?
So,
yeah, I think that's just an option for employers and recruiters that use LinkedIn Recruiter. So, anybody have any questions about any of that so far?